Before you scroll, before you doubt, before you tell yourself this is just another video, pause for a moment. Out of billions of people, thousands of videos, and countless distractions, you are here right now, and that matters more than you realize. Something inside you has been asking questions you haven't said out loud. A quiet hunger for more clarity, more direction, more meaning. And this moment is not random. This isn't a video to hype you up for 5 minutes and leave you unchanged. This is a wake-up call. A reminder that your thoughts, your decisions, and your actions are shaping your future every single day, whether you are aware of it or not. If you've been feeling stuck, uncertain, or tired of starting over, you're not alone, and you're not broken. You're standing at the edge of a shift. Stay with this message until the end, because one idea, just one, can realign the way you see your life, your struggles, and your potential. What you're about to hear isn't theory, it's a way of thinking that turns ordinary moments into turning points. If you listen with an open mind and an honest heart, you may realize that the change you've been waiting for isn't coming later, it's beginning right now. Nothing happens by accident is not a motivational phrase. It is a way of understanding how life truly works when awareness is present. What most people call coincidence is often the meeting point of preparation, thought, timing, and choice. Every event that leaves an impression on you arrives because it connects to something already active within your mind. Your habits of thinking, your emotional focus, and your repeated attention quietly shape the experiences that come toward you. When you begin to observe your life closely, patterns emerge. The same types of opportunities, challenges, and people tend to appear again and again, not randomly, but because they match the direction of your inner world. Awareness transforms chance into meaning. A person who lacks awareness walks past opportunities daily, while a person who is alert recognizes purpose in simple moments. An unexpected message, a delayed plan, a sudden idea, or even a setback can carry guidance when you are willing to look beyond the surface. Life communicates through experiences, not explanations. The moment you understand that events are not separate from your thinking, you gain control over how you respond. Instead of asking why something happened to you, you begin asking what it is trying to show you. This shift changes frustration into curiosity and fear into strategy. When something captures your attention strongly, it is often because it relates to a desire you have not fully acted upon or a lesson you have been avoiding. Purpose reveals itself to those who stop rushing and start observing. Even difficulties serve a function, sharpening judgment, strengthening discipline, or redirecting effort toward a better path. People who succeed are not luckier than others. They are simply more conscious of the signals life sends. They treat encounters as instructions and delays as preparation. Once you accept that nothing arrives without a reason, you stop wasting experiences. You extract value from everything, learning from loss, direction from confusion, and motivation from discomfort. This mindset builds confidence because it replaces helplessness with responsibility. When you believe events are meaningful, you stay engaged instead of discouraged. Awareness places you in partnership with life itself, allowing you to move deliberately rather than react blindly, and it begins the process of turning ordinary moments into defining opportunities. Your mind attracts what it dwells upon because thought is the starting point of every outcome you experience. Long before results appear in the physical world, they are formed in the invisible world of attention, belief, and expectation. Whatever you repeatedly focus on begins to influence your perception, and perception guides behavior. When the mind is fixed on lack, fear, or limitation, it unconsciously searches for evidence to confirm those ideas, shaping decisions that keep the same conditions alive. In contrast, when the mind is trained to focus on possibility, growth, and purpose, it begins to notice paths that were previously ignored. This is not magic or chance, but a natural process of mental alignment. The brain filters information based on what it considers important, meaning your dominant thoughts decide what opportunities you see and which ones you overlook. Repeated thoughts become habits, and habits turn into patterns of action that quietly build your future. A person who constantly thinks about improvement will naturally seek knowledge, surround themselves with growth-minded people, and act with persistence, while a person who dwells on failure will hesitate, delay, and withdraw even when chances appear. The mind also influences emotional state, and emotions fuel momentum. When thoughts are disciplined, emotions become supportive instead of destructive. Confidence grows not from external validation, but from consistent inner dialogue. that reinforces belief in one's ability to learn and adapt. Over time, the mind begins to attract circumstances that match its dominant state because actions, tone, posture, and choices align with that internal focus. People respond differently to someone who thinks with clarity and purpose than to someone filled with doubt. Even setbacks are interpreted differently depending on mental focus, either as proof of inability or as feedback for improvement. What you dwell upon also shapes patience and endurance, determining whether challenges feel like walls or stepping stones. Control of thought is therefore control of direction. When attention is deliberately guided, the mind stops reacting to conditions and starts creating them. This process is subtle, gradual, and powerful, forming a self-reinforcing cycle where thought influences action, action shapes experience, and experience strengthens belief. A definite decision changes direction because clarity of choice releases energy that uncertainty keeps trapped. Most people drift through life not because they lack ability, but because they never commit fully to a single course of action. When the mind wavers, effort is divided, confidence weakens, and progress becomes slow and inconsistent. Indecision quietly drains strength by keeping attention scattered across possibilities instead of concentrated on purpose. The moment a clear decision is made, something shifts internally. The mind stops negotiating and starts organizing. Thoughts align, priorities sharpen, and actions gain intensity. A firm decision sends a signal to the subconscious that the debate is over, and once that happens, resources within you begin to cooperate rather than conflict. Opportunities that once seemed invisible begin to stand out because attention is now focused. Doubt loses power when there is no longer an option to retreat. Commitment creates momentum, and momentum reduces fear. With a definite decision, obstacles are no longer reasons to stop, but problems to solve. Persistence becomes natural because quitting is no longer considered. People often wait for perfect conditions before deciding, but clarity itself creates better conditions. When you decide with purpose, your behavior changes immediately, even if results take time. You speak differently, carry yourself differently, and act with intention rather than hesitation. Others sense this certainty and respond to it, offering support, information, or opportunity that hesitation never attracts. A clear decision also simplifies life by eliminating distractions that do not serve the chosen direction. Energy that was once wasted on doubt is redirected into action. Mistakes still occur, but they no longer feel paralyzing because the direction remains fixed even when methods adjust. Growth accelerates because learning becomes purposeful rather than random. Every experience is measured against the decision, making progress easier to evaluate. Direction does not come from knowing every step ahead, but from knowing which way you are committed to moving. A definite decision transforms hope into intention and intention into disciplined action, placing control back into your hands where it belongs. Faith before evidence means choosing belief as a starting point rather than a reward. Most people condition their confidence on visible results, telling themselves they will believe when proof appears, but progress rarely works that way. Growth begins internally long before it becomes measurable externally. Faith is not blind optimism or wishful thinking. It is a disciplined decision to trust your direction even when outcomes are uncertain. Every meaningful achievement in life starts with action taken in the absence of guarantees. If proof were required first, no new path would ever be taken, no innovation would ever be attempted, and no personal transformation would ever begin. Faith creates emotional stability during periods when results are delayed, protecting you from quitting too soon. When belief is established first, effort remains consistent even when feedback is limited or discouraging. The mind needs a reason to persist, and faith supplies that reason by anchoring behavior to vision instead of circumstance. Without faith, temporary setbacks feel permanent, and slow progress feels like failure. With faith, the same experiences are interpreted as part of a larger process. This internal stance changes how you respond to uncertainty. Instead of freezing or retreating, you adjust and continue moving. Faith also influences the quality of your actions. When you believe in the outcome, your actions carry confidence, patience, and persistence, all of which increase the likelihood of success. Doubt weakens execution by introducing hesitation and second-guessing, while faith strengthens execution by allowing focus to remain on improvement rather than fear. Belief also trains the subconscious mind to search for alignment, ideas, and solutions that support the chosen direction. Evidence eventually appears not because faith demanded it, but because faith sustained the effort long enough for results to form. Waiting for evidence before believing places control outside yourself, making motivation dependent on conditions you cannot fully influence. Choosing faith first places control within, allowing you to move forward regardless of external noise. Over time, repeated action supported by belief turns faith into experience and experience into confidence, completing a cycle that begins with trust and grows stronger through consistent action. Action activates opportunity because movement creates contact with possibility, while inaction keeps potential dormant. Ideas, plans, and intentions remain powerless until they are translated into behavior. Many people collect knowledge, wait for motivation, or search for certainty, believing opportunity will arrive first and action will follow, but opportunity is most often a response, not an invitation. When you take action, even imperfect action, you place yourself in motion, and motion changes what you encounter. Each step forward exposes new information, feedback, and connections that could not be accessed from a position of waiting. Action sharpens awareness by revealing what works, what doesn't, and what needs adjustment. Without action, the mind exaggerates risk and minimizes capability, creating fear from imagination rather than experience. Action replaces speculation with evidence, turning uncertainty into usable insight. Opportunities favor those who are already moving, because movement signals readiness and commitment. When you act, you demonstrate seriousness, and seriousness attracts cooperation from people, systems, and circumstances. Small actions build momentum, and momentum lowers resistance. What once felt intimidating becomes manag. Evil once engagement begins. Action also builds confidence, not because success is guaranteed, but because progress proves your ability to respond and adapt. Each attempt strengthens skill, judgment, and resilience, making you better prepared for larger opportunities when they appear. Waiting for perfect timing often results in missed chances because timing is rarely obvious in advance. Action creates timing by aligning preparation with presence. Even mistakes serve a purpose when action is taken because they provide clarity and direction that hesitation never offers. Opportunity is rarely a single dramatic moment. It is often a sequence of openings that reveal themselves only after commitment is shown. Those who act consistently place themselves in environments where opportunity circulates, increasing exposure and probability. Action also transforms desire into discipline, shifting focus from what you want to what you are willing to do. Through repeated action, habits form and habits sustain progress long after initial motivation fades. The world responds to what you do, not what you intend. And once action becomes a standard rather than an exception, opportunity stops feeling rare and starts feeling responsive. You are closer than you think because progress often happens beneath the surface long before it becomes visible. Most people measure distance by results they can immediately see, and when those results are delayed, they assume they are far from success. In reality, growth is frequently internal at first, building skill, awareness, discipline, and resilience in ways that are not instantly measurable. Every effort you make leaves an imprint, even when outcomes appear unchanged. The mind learns, adjusts, and strengthens through repetition, and these changes accumulate quietly. Persistence feels hardest just before a breakthrough because effort has been invested long enough to create fatigue but not long enough to reveal reward. This is the stage where many give up, unaware that their consistency has already set critical forces in motion. Progress is not always linear. It often moves in waves, with periods of apparent stillness followed by sudden advancement. What feels like stagnation may actually be preparation, aligning conditions and sharpening judgment so that when movement occurs, it is decisive. Being close does not mean the work is finished. It means the foundation is strong enough to support the next level. Small improvements compound over time, and what once seemed insignificant becomes meaningful when viewed collectively. Many opportunities arrive only after endurance has been proven, testing whether commitment is temporary or sustained. When you continue despite doubt, fatigue, or lack of recognition, you develop an inner stability that success requires to be maintained. The feeling of wanting to quit is often a signal that you are stretching beyond previous limits, not that you are failing. Distance shrinks when perspective changes, when you recognize that effort itself is evidence of advancement. Each challenge faced and managed increases capability, even if it does not immediately increase reward. Confidence grows from surviving difficulty, not avoiding it. Those who succeed are rarely those who felt closest at the beginning, but those who refuse to stop when progress felt slow. When you understand that closeness is measured by commitment rather than comfort, patience replaces frustration. Staying engaged allows timing, opportunity, and readiness to intersect naturally, turning persistence into progress and effort into realization. Everything you have heard comes together in one powerful truth. Your life is not shaped by chance, but by awareness, decision, belief, and action. When you understand that nothing happens without purpose, you stop feeling like a victim of circumstances and start recognizing direction in every experience. By mastering your thoughts, you guide what you move toward. By making a clear decision, you give your life direction instead of leaving it to uncertainty. By choosing faith before evidence, you remain steady when results are delayed. By taking action, you turn potential into momentum. And by remembering that you are closer than you think, you find the strength to persist when quitting feels easier. This moment is not here to inspire you briefly, but to challenge you to live intentionally, to trust your inner signal, and to act with consistency until vision becomes reality. Good luck on your journey forward. Make clarity guide your decisions, faith strengthen your efforts, and persistence reward your patience. Thank you for giving your time, your attention, and your belief to this message.